astronauts, this is Brandy and welcome back to Astro-Tarot Research. I hope all is well with you lovely astronauts. Today's reading is what new experiences in love awaits you. We have 5 piles to choose from as always, but before we get into these piles, I do want to remind you to like, comment, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And if you want to follow more of my personal life, I have my TikTok link below and my Instagram for more astrology information, studies, and etc. Now let us get into these piles. We have pile number 1, pile number 2, pile number 3, pile number 4, and pile number 5. So let's not waste any more time and just sit back, relax, and choose. Hey pal, number 1, let's get started on your reading and what new experiences in love await you. We have, ooh, I can't flip it. They're stuck together. We have Venus and Saturn, the 2 of Swords, the 10 of Coins, the Tower, and the 2 of Swords again. Oh, wow. So you have some decisions to make, pal. Number 1, which makes sense because when we have Venus and Saturn to come together, it can be about making serious choices for yourselves. So I'm trying to remember this correctly, but I believe the last time I had Venus and Saturn come together, I had to make some serious choices when it came to how I wanted to make money or conduct myself in the future. I was essentially deciding between not doing as well in school and keeping a job, or getting rid of the job and potentially having to wait again for another job opportunity, which who knows would take long, but then I would do well in school. So it was just very much about serious choices between my finances and my education. But either way, Venus represents choices, paths you can take along the lines of that, decisions to make. And Saturn represents things that are heavy, serious, and have to do with commitment, career, etc., things like that. And a lot of this can have to do with money as well, which is probably why we got this 10 of Coins. And it's interesting, since we're still on the Venus and Saturn, I didn't even get to everything else here. We'll loop back around to like the 10 of Coins and all of that. But it's interesting that we have Saturn, the planet that specializes in karma and past experience, in a reading having to do about new love experiences. So it makes me think that there's a possibility that you may come across an ex or receive contact from an ex or something along like that. Or it's likely that you'll be addressing old patterns in your dating life. For example, let's say you had a specific type. Let's say you were a person who I like gym guys and girls. Well, this new experience will have you reevaluate your preferences and form a new pattern that will better serve you. So it can be about making healthier choices that will suit you in the long run, which brings us back to this 2 of Swords and the 10 of Pentacles, which represents longevity, and the 2 of Swords represents choices. So this new experiences in your love life have to do with reevaluating the choices that suit you in the long run, like the example I gave you before. Because now it's looking like the choices you're making aren't really sustainable. The people that you're dating, the partnerships that you're forming, it's almost like you don't share the same vision with the people that you are connecting with. Now, this may not be for all of you. If this doesn't resonate, then, feel free to choose another pile. But I do have to say this. It's almost like the decisions and the people you're choosing and the ones you're forming connections with, you don't have a strong, solid foundation. And it doesn't necessarily mean these are bad people or anything along the lines of that, but it's almost like these relationships aren't reaching the level of commitment that you need to satisfy you, which is why we have the Tower, which is like, I'm destroying all of this. I'm destroying this rocky foundation. And I'm going back to making better choices. Okay? I'm making better choices. You see, on the After Tarot deck, we went from the Two of Swords, where this person is blinding themselves and they have this swords almost, blocking themselves from seeing the truth and etc. like that. This time, there's no swords blocking them. There are people here, but they're not facing this person in the middle. They're facing each other. And this person has this blindfold on, but there's nothing to stop them from just simply walking away and everything. Like, I don't think these two would even notice. My point is, there's nothing in your way that will stop you from making better choices. And it's like you're going to go through a bunch of experiences that make you feel a little bit more free and make the choices a lot clearer for you, where you no longer feel that anxiety about maybe having to compromise on this thing or compromise on that thing, or feeling like you're not going to find the right person if you're single, or being in a relationship that doesn't satisfy your needs. Like, all of that rockiness, rough, unstable foundation way of thinking just disappears. And you're like, you know what? Anything that doesn't suit my needs and isn't right for me is not something that I need to keep within my life. I don't feel like I'm bound to anyone. And if they have an issue with it, they could sort it out with them and their mama. You know what I mean? Like, that's gonna be where the point that you get to, where you're gonna feel more confident in your decision making, rather than feeling like, oh, something, the axe is gonna drop if you choose the wrong thing. If that makes sense. If you're somebody who's used to, situationships, short-term relationships, that's all ending. Saturn and Venus wants to give you something committed and long. So you're going to get to the point where you're making decisions that suit you better in the long run, or you're going to start meeting people, or both, or you're going to start meeting people who want those long-term committed relationships as well. As I've stated, it is about undoing behavior that can prevent you from forming healthy, lasting bonds. So if you're someone who lowers your standards or has lowered their standards in the past because you were lonely and you wanted to be loved, or you tried to make compromises that just didn't suit you, made you uncomfortable, made you upset, made you feel insecure, made you feel like this wasn't the relationship you wanted to be, like it was chipping and eating away at you. No more. You're going to meet more people who align with what you need in your life and what suits you. You'll also be deciding what exactly it is a priority for you within relationships, whether that's quality time, words of affirmation, gifts, physical touch, whatever the case may be. You're going to, ask your partner to be honest. And you also will be honest with them. And you'll say, hey, I need you to meet these needs. And if that's not you, then I got to start looking elsewhere, right? Two of Swords is about those decisions. You're like, I gotta decide what's right. I gotta move to the next thing if this isn't working, Also, I do want to say that sometimes, obviously, our work can affect our love lives, or our love lives can affect our work. And that's what Saturn and Venus can represent. So this next chapter or new experiences could possibly be that your work is affecting your love life, or your love life is affecting your work in some way. Maybe your love life's affecting your work because the Ten of Swords reversed and we have this Tower thing. Almost like, whoa, this is very shaky when it comes to your work. Maybe it's like fogging your thinking. Maybe you have somebody here stressing you out. Or maybe you just feel like, work isn't that satisfactory and you wish you had someone there and you kind of daydream about, someone like that. I don't know. It also can represent having to move for love, or choosing between like a job opportunity and being within a certain relationship. That's a major choice, obviously. Another thing this can represent is meeting someone through work or at some sort of work event, like a work conference, a work trip, or just meeting someone within the same field. And this also can be, with all of these cards together, reevaluating your self-worth and your confidence and where it stems from. If you have a perceived lack of beauty or desirability in some way, this is the time that will address that. And ultimately, it will lead you to feeling comfort and self-acceptance, which obviously will in turn affect your love life, because you'll make more choices out of feeling secure and sound within yourself, and thus you're less likely to accept poor behavior. You could also get to a point where you may feel, for some of you, small portion of you, where you feel your love life is affecting your reputation at work. You know, sometimes people bring their spouse or significant other or whoever they're dating to a work event. That person might drink a little too much or act in a certain way that's good or bad, and that can affect their obvious work reputation. You know, it's like... And I'm trying to think if there's anything else here. I think I've already mentioned this can blur the line between personal and professional connections. Making romantic endeavors complicated, where you're like, okay, how do I navigate this within the workforce? Like, what's going on here? A lot of emotional maturity being grown in or being brought in at this time through possibly either, like I said, a new relationship forming, or having to restructure a current relationship that you're in with this Ten of Swords here. And it does look like restructuring with the Tower and the Ten of Pentacles. Sorry, I'm saying Ten of Swords. But like I said, if you're single, this is you deciding, redefining what it is that you want in the long term, and thus destroying that and making new and better decisions for yourself, and having a clearer insight of exactly what it is that you're looking for within a relationship and something that could be committed. But ultimately, what I see coming in terms of new experiences is a new way of thinking that will lead to a lasting love, and possibly even both, like the lasting love and the new way of thinking coming in. But it is restructuring your thoughts and how you make decisions that are best for you. And with Saturn and Venus coming in, it will attract more practical, supportive, and dependable partners, people who are more mature, creative, and are serious about their financial obligations as well. And someone who's willing to make sacrifices that will be better for them in the long term. So those will be the type of people you're meeting if you are single and you're looking for someone. And this can also represent, like, if you're in business with someone, being like an entrepreneur couple along the lines of that. But don't be scared of the things that are coming in, because these things that are coming in are really great for you, and ultimately will bring you closer to finding someone who just suits you, who just, you know, helps build your confidence, and you guys will support each other, who is mature, and it's going to be an easy decision. It's going to get to a point where, like, this is easy. I know exactly what this is. I know exactly how to navigate this. Like, I know this is the right person for me, because you'll have formed and understand what it is that you value and what you need. So it is possible. Like I said, I see someone coming in, and it may at first, maybe it seems like a confusing decision, but it's going to get real easy. I mean, really. Yeah, I mean, I just, that's what I see. You're going to be able to move forward like with like an open heart. I guess there's no other way I could put it. I've phrased it a billion different ways. I think I've been clear about what I've been trying to communicate. Confronting your feelings, being honest about who you are, honest about what you want, finding someone who fits into your long-term goals and plans and the life that you see for yourself. Having clarity in decision making, and it's going to be so easy. It's going to be so easy to just, when you see that person, when you know that person, you're like, that is it. But that is what I have for you, pal number 1, and I will see you next time. Oh, hey, pal number 2, let's get into what new experiences and love await you. We have Neptune and Chiron, Queen of Cups, Ace of Pentacles, Ace of Wands, and Two of Wands. Oh, feels like the tarot version of Uno somehow. I don't know. I guess because it goes from 1, 1, 2. Like common suits, you know, whatever. That's not the point. So, new experiences for love for you. Wow, it looks like we have a lot of great things coming in when we have the Queen of Cups. That means we have emotional maturity, self-awareness, involving yourself with people who have a strong amount of empathy, or if you're in a relationship, growing in empathy and understanding within your relationship, which goes into this Chiron Neptune energy. So the last time that I remember Chiron and Neptune were together in the sky was around May 2009, sorry. People were like people were more unemployed during this time period. And because they were more unemployed, people were dating more frequently. And so if you're currently single, it looks like you'll probably pick up the pace and start dating and exploring a little bit more, which makes sense because it's like the Queen of Cups starts taking on these opportunities. This Ace of Coins is there. This Ace of Wands, she picks that up. She picks up the coin. She's just like new experiences, new opportunities, new people to meet. Yeah, I'm all for that. So there's a good chance if you're single, you're going to start picking up new people to date. I don't know why I said picking up. You're going to start encountering more people to date, to talk to experience. Another thing that happened during this period is that online dating was kind of picking up more traction. So it was still seen as irregular and not the norm. But, and also I did want to say there's because it was seen as unregular and not the norm, there was like a sense of shame and embarrassment to say like you met someone online during that time period. But given that, this would be indicative of you stepping out and trying new things that maybe other people think are a little bit out of the box, a little bit unusual when it comes to how you want to meet and connect with another person. Something that may be a little bit more innovative, trying out new methods of meeting someone. I saw that trend on TikTok where people were like doing the running clubs or something along the lines of that. I've seen people talk about going to matchmakers. Matchmakers are kind of old school, but this would indicate something new. But let me think. I can't think of any new. I haven't been keeping up with all the new ways people meet in terms of that. But maybe like social media, maybe some hobby group along the lines of that. There's probably something out there that I don't know about that people are meeting through that's happening. But you are going to pick up and be a part of new and different and interesting ways that maybe you typically aren't used to meeting someone. So if you're someone who normally meets in person, maybe you try online. If you're someone who has never done speed dating, maybe you do speed dating. If you've never done a matchmaker, maybe you do a matchmaker. Maybe you go to singles events. Maybe, like I said, you join some sort of hobby group, club, whatever the case, but you start meeting people in different and new ways. That's what's going to be the new experiences in your life. If you're already in a relationship, then this is just about experiencing new things together as a couple. that you typically may not do. Maybe you guys buy a pet together. That's possible. Maybe you move in together. Maybe you buy a house together. Get your own place. Start planning a wedding. Get engaged. Like, it's about new experiences together. The Two of Wands after tarot deck. On the original Two of Wands decks, it's the person standing by himself, looking at the globe, 1 foot towards the past, 1 foot towards the future. Now on the after tarot deck, this person has company. So it may be like if you're in a relationship that you're planning for not only your future, but now the future of you and your partner and who you're with. So you're like, oh, I don't think I've ever just, had to include anyone else in my plans. Now I have to start thinking like a we and a unit instead of just me and I, right? So that's something that happens. Another thing that happens with this with these two things coming together when it comes to Neptune and Chiron, well, it was a transit, but you know what I mean, is that because people weren't making as much money, there was a recession, people were more unemployed, people weren't prioritizing material concerns as much and were focusing more so on spiritual soulmate-like connections. So it is quite possible that you'll be meeting people who, I'm not going to say they're neglectful of their finances, but it's more likely their main focus isn't their resources. You're meeting people with different values because the Ace of Coins can represent what you value. And these values have to do more so with the things that they're passionate about and their interests, their education, their hobbies. You're meeting people more so who have similar backgrounds in those areas. So if you have like a PhD, you might be meeting more people with PhDs. If you are someone who's into rock collecting, you may meet more people who are into rock collecting. It's about connecting over similar interests, as I said, and focuses and passions. So it's less about the material things when it comes to Neptune and Chiron. So you'll be meeting people who will be focusing on soulmate-like connections, who are wanting to have more compassionate, empathetic relationships. And I think it's possible you may even have that type of relationship forming for you. And the good thing about this is that it's very much so a slow burn with the Ace of Coins. And the Ace of Wands and the Two of Wands are more like friendship cards. So it doesn't come off as like an immediate, this is romantic. It's almost like you will build to the romance. Because you're getting to know each other far beyond like the superficial when we have this Neptune and Chiron conjunction. This is about prioritizing emotional connection, understanding, and support. And so those are the new experiences that you will have where you're meeting people who are more emotionally intelligent, who do have that maturity about them, and are non-judgmental and open-minded. Another thing that happens when we have the Two of Wands and Chiron and Neptune is that you're more than likely, either you yourself are going to reevaluate, and this is only if you have these ideas, reevaluate any sort of traditional views on, gender roles, religion, commitment, and what you define as a healthy partnership. Or you're going to meet people who, like I said, if you already have a very non-traditional way of viewing, gender roles, commitment, partnership, healthy partnership, and etc., then you're going to meet more people who are like-minded to you. Because Neptune and Chiron, when those two come together, it's about like having less boundaries and healing from, toxic, rigid norms of the past. So it's less boundary. Like if you were in a female-male relationship, it's not like, oh, she stays home and cooks and clean and I bring home the bacon. It's like, no, we both do those things. Or, we have some other sort of dynamic where the man stays home and cooks and cleans and she goes out and gets the bacon. Like, it's less about having strict boundaries on things. There's no rules when it comes to Neptune. Neptune is a very free planet. So because of that, you may be creating your own space and your own rules and what works for you within your dating world. And yeah, there may be people who don't understand, but it doesn't look like you'll be concerned with them at all. New experiences that you may have, is possible that either you are going to be attracting people who are very interested in like meditation, spiritual practices, going beyond the physical realm, or you may have experiences that will cause you to meet people like that. Like, let's say going on a spiritual retreat and then you meet someone there. If you already have a partner, you two could have some sort of spiritual experiences together. If you're like going into a forest and drinking ashwagandha or something along the lines of that, and meditating, going on trips together, traveling. Traveling's a big thing when it comes to just Neptune in general, as well as the Two of Wands. And the Ace of Wands can be very fleety type of energy. I mean, Ace of Pentacles is grounded, but the Ace of Wands is like up in the air. Two of Wands is up in the air. Like, Two of Wands wants to explore the world. Ace of Wands wants to explore the world. Neptune wants to explore the world. So you could also be meeting people who are from a different culture, religious background, ethnic background, whatever the case may be, but definitely someone different from you, or possibly meeting someone abroad. Or if you're in a partnership, you could be traveling more with your partner, like this Two of Wands, which suggests like you're factoring in, oh, we're going on vacation together. I've never been on a vacation with a partner. I've never been on a vacation with a date. I've never, gone to a retreat with someone I'm romantically interested in. And now you find yourself doing these activities with someone who you care about or who you're interested in. I think one thing that's important that can be frustrating with the Chiron Neptune energy is that there is some sort of like working to understand each other, because like I said, Neptune can be unconventional, wants to blur boundaries. So you really have to redefine what is acceptable and not acceptable for you in your relationships, or what's acceptable and not acceptable to how you choose to date and encounter people. And one thing I do want to mention is that you may start meeting more people who are more egalitarian. Yeah, just more egalitarian. So someone who's going to be more supportive of, LGBTQ plus rights, somebody who's like for the environment, somebody who's protective of minorities, someone who is generally trying to create a safe space, especially with this Ace of Coins there. So if you're dating, you'll be meeting people like this. Just someone who's vibrating at a higher frequency. Like you're moving away from low vibrational connection. So if you have met people who may have had a lack of empathy, a lack of understanding, who didn't have a strong alignment to some sort of deeper belief system, who didn't have big aspirations, you're not really connecting with those people anymore. You're connecting with people more like-minded. And another thing is, when we have these cards coming together, it's almost like you're planning for something big. So if you yourself are someone who has big aspirations, who's very ambitious, then more than likely you're also going to be attracting that type. It's like you're almost manifesting who you are. like somebody very similar to yourself. But then also we get into, like I said, the Neptune, Chiron type qualities, like the healing and spiritual nature. Just stepping away from things that just don't feel like they have strong emotional fulfillment. Because that's what you want. The things that don't feel, the things that feel too rigid, or don't feel that they fit what exactly it is that you're looking for in a connection. You're moving away from that. Things that don't make you passionate, things that don't make you want to explore. You're not defining yourself by what anybody else is doing. You're doing your own thing. Very unconventional dynamics. So that is those are the new experiences that you're having. Very much specific to you. I don't think a lot of people are going to relate to exactly how you go about dating or to your relationship if you're already in one. Because it's really about doing your own thing and being confident in the choices that you make. And I definitely see a rise in confidence and feeling secure within yourself and trusting the decisions that you make and being bold about it. Saying, no, this is just who I am. This is what I want. And it just feels good to me. But yeah, I do see all of those things before with attracting more spiritual and emotional, intelligent people coming into your life, getting away from the toxicity. And as I was saying before, like, you'll probably be attracting a lot more people who have a lot more stability and success in a way. Not necessarily saying if they don't have stability and success, because like I said, Neptune and Chiron, there was a lot of unemployment around that time. Then you're at least going to attract people who are very kind of hardworking, right? And who do take the steps to go in the direction which will achieve and grant them success. They may be in a, planning, waiting period right now, but they're definitely someone who has momentum, because they're going from that Ace of Wands to the Two of Wands. So they're really sticking to the plan. And it's only just a matter of time to get where they get to where they want to go. But for the most part, it's like a person who dreams big. And not only is this person dreaming big, but they have a solid foundation, or these people that you're encountering. Solid foundation to help them go in the right direction. But these new experiences are definitely going to be unconventional and very exciting and totally different. And you're going to feel like, whoa, I've never had this type of spiritual and emotional and connection with someone, where we're actively listening and validating each other's emotions and seeing things from each other's perspectives. Like this Two of Wands, they're both looking at each other and seeing each other, looking each other eye to eye and seeing things from their perspective. And like I said, this Queen of Cups has more empathy. She's like understanding, and you're like giving each other grace and forgiveness. And so it's just it's a lot healthier. But that is what I have for you, pal number 2. And I will see you next time. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and au revoir. Hey, pal number 3. Let's get started on what new experiences in love are coming your way. Are we on 3? Or are we on 4? Yeah, I think we're on 3. Sorry, my brain just blanked. Okay, 6 of Swords, Judgment, the World, ooh, the Chariot. Make sure everything is here for you to see. Wow. Okay, so 6 of Swords, we all know that means that you are leaving something tragic behind, whether that is relationships, poor dating experiences, just situationships that didn't work out. You're moving on to something new and fresh. That is what Judgment is all about. We're letting bygones be bygones. We're going on to bigger, better things. We are rejuvenating, being refreshed. These new experiences that are coming in are like nothing that you have felt before. And honestly, sorry, honesty might be part of it, but honestly, you're starting to feel like things are going to be more successful. If you feel like you've had a lot of failed relationships, situationships, dating mishaps, this is saying that no, we're moving on to something that's actually going to be sustainable and last. We got the World card, which represents success, and the Chariot, which is victory. So it's about pushing forward and achieving those goals and the things that you want in your relationship, which makes sense because when we have when we have the Sun and Saturn together, those two are such goal-oriented planets. They're not typical when you think of love readings, of course, because both of those have to do with more so like career or the Sun, particularly vitality. Saturn's more so, you know, structure, security, sustainability, you know, overcoming fears, bossing up, and things like that. You know, Saturn does rule the highest point in the chart, which is the 10th house, which has to do with leadership. And the Sun is also connected to leadership. So you don't typically think of that when it comes to love and romance. But what this is letting me know is that either one, you are getting to a point where you are entering a new experience where you have a clear sense of direction and knowing what you want. Two, you are attracting that type of individual who is very much goal-oriented and focused in their purpose, and they're not lost. They're not looking this way trying to figure this thing out, or going in this way trying to figure that thing out. They have a good idea of what they want. If you have dealt with people who might be indecisive in their career, indecisive if they want kids or not, indecisive in where they want to live, indecisive on, you know, what it is that makes them happy, etc. You're meeting more people who are sure of themselves, and you as well are becoming more sure of yourself and what exactly it is that you want and you're looking for. And this is a very much I'm standing on business type of pile, and I'm going to make sure that I'm focused and I get what I want. The first thing I think about when I think of Sun and Saturn is I think of a more structured love life, kind of just what I was describing for you when it comes to just knowing who you are and what you want, and also having to take on responsibilities when it comes to your romantic pursuits. That's not necessarily a bad thing, right? When you feel a sense of responsibility towards someone, that means that you're putting in time and effort towards them. And with these cards, it's showing that they are also viewing you as a priority. There's no more bargaining for time. There's no more trying to adjust schedules. Don't get me wrong, with this combination of cards, it can be like sort of a slow burn a little bit, because Saturn is a planet of patience and it likes to take its time. And I know on days when I have Saturn Sun aspects, which I think Saturn is trining Sun now, and if I look at past aspects when Saturn is trine Sun or conjunct Sun or made some sort of aspect to the Sun, those are days where I'm typically feeling tired, burnt out, almost like a loss of vitality, because Saturn is such heavy energy and Sun represents vitality. But what that means, what I'm basically trying to say is that heaviness is kind of good because it allows you to prioritize what exactly is important to you. So on the days where I have been super tired, I had to think about what do I actually have the energy for and what is the most important to me. And so that is what you're going to be doing within your romantic life. It's more so, okay, how important is this hobby versus, you know, spending time and going on this date? Or how important is, I don't know, this taking on this new extra work at this job versus, you know, spending quality time with my partner? It's about prioritizing and understanding what is important to you. And either you're going to decide that, for some of you, you might decide, okay, maybe my career, etc., is more important to focus on than my love life, and my love life can take a back seat. But for others of you, it's going to mean taking on a stronger commitment and making more sacrifices to have a successful love life, which is why I brought up the slow burn before, because if you know that you ultimately want to prioritize your love life, you may have to you might have to have a conversation with your dating partners or your current partner or partners, if you're in a polyamorous relationship, and say, hey, right now I'm taking on a lot of responsibilities, like this World card at work. And so maybe, you know, we can't, you know, have a date every week, etc. or every couple of days, etc. But, you know, as time moves on, we can eventually spend more time together and etc. And you're both willing to make that sacrifice and make that compromise. Or it could be something vice versa, where you may feel like, that situation is not really acceptable to me. I want a stronger commitment within my love life, and I want someone who is going to put me as priority number one. And thus, you know, the slow burn may not work. It's really just about prioritizing your goals and what works for you. But generally, the Sun and Saturn is more so of a slow sort of burn. You're not going to jump into a relationship. It may not even be a situation like that. It may just be something along the lines of, okay, maybe you're used to sort of like getting into relationships or situationships or having things go at a faster pace, etc. But this time around, it's saying, hey, things are going to take a little bit longer, and it's going to feel a little bit more healthy, more comfortable. It's not going to feel like you rushed into anything, and you're both going to feel like, yeah, we made the right choice choosing to be with each other or each other's. I don't know what kind of dynamic you might have, but something along the lines of that. These cards represent serious commitment. The World is very serious. The Chariot, obviously very focused, determined energy. And Judgment is connected to Pluto, and that is a huge card of transformation. Very heavy energy. You know, if you notice when we had Pluto enter, well, it technically entered Aquarius, I think, last year, but it's really in Aquarius this year. And you notice how there was this kind of like huge shift in AI when it comes to transforming, and the amount of responsibility that AI will more likely have on the future, and how it's affecting job markets and various different interactions people have, and all of the deep faking and all this. There's a huge responsibility and heavy weight when it comes to basically technology right now, because it could potentially, you know, destroy lives and have a lot of power and stuff. But anyway, the point is that it's a you have some very, very serious cards going on here. And you can even look at this as Pluto and Saturn in Cancer, in the sign of Cancer, which has to do with home life, emotional fulfillment, your private inner world. And so a lot of deep intimacy and connection going on here, something that more than likely you would probably only gain from a long-term committed relationship. So I do see, if you have not had that long-term committed relationship, or if you hadn't had a serious transformative experience within your relationship, then that is more than likely coming. If you're in a relationship, this is you guys getting on the same page. The Chariot is normally two horses going in different directions, and the coach driver is pulling them in the same direction. This is you getting on the same page as your partner, going in the same direction. Another thing that I have to say, which is kind of stereotypical, is that you may be attracting more older partners or just more mature people with Saturn there. Even more people who are a little bit more serious about their career or have a little bit more prestige. The Chariot I normally get for people who have some pull within their industry or have some sort of respect or a name for themselves within their industry. Same with the World card. The World card does represent recognition, as well as the Sun can represent recognition, and Saturn too as well. So because we have that 10th house energy, we have that 5th house Leo energy going on here. So that's something to keep in mind, where you may be attracting a lot more people who just know people who attracting a lot more people who people know. That's kind of a confusing sentence, but tongue twister. All right. You'll be laying a lot of groundwork for stable relationships, some good groundwork, understanding, being very forgiving of each other, learning about each other through challenges. Because I'm not gonna lie, you know, I've gotten a Chariot card for like days, years, months, you know, like I'm like, what is this month like? What is this year like? What is this week like? And the Chariot is all about overcoming challenges and growing from those challenges and having to keep pushing forward. So this is not to say that everything is peachy keen and you're leaving everything that is tumultuous behind, but this is saying that the challenges that you take on will be worth it this time around with these new experiences coming your way. Another thing we want to keep in mind when we have all of these cards combined is that there's more than likely you'll be setting even higher standards for yourself. You may have thought that you had higher standards for yourself before, or maybe you didn't have higher standards for yourself, whatever the case may be. But those standards are going to raise even more when we have the World card, the Chariot, Judgment, and the Sun and Saturn. Sun and Saturn is very, very like power couple, okay? Very much higher achievers, very much like we're going to do this together. We're going to support each other's business. When I see like Sun and Saturn people coming together, it's almost like they motivate each other to gain more success, which can be good, but it can be also kind of like, you know what? You're putting more pressure on me. Like I said, that Saturnian energy is so heavy. So the Sun world person may feel like, man, this person is really pushing me to like be someone like really great. Like Saturn wants to bring out somebody's potential. I like to call Saturn like nurse Saturn because, well, one, I see a lot of Saturnian people be nurses. And two, it's just like they want to push you to heal, be the best version of yourself, and to go, go, go. That's why those Saturn returns are so heavy, because it's like, man, I really got to deal with all this. Like, I really got to upgrade and level up. Yeah, Saturn's going to make sure you do it. So you could be pushing yourselves to become the best versions of yourselves with the people that you date, as well as, you know, if you're in a relationship, you guys can be pushing each other further than you have gone before. But I do also want to say, sometimes when we have these amount of cards, the theme becomes patience. Okay? The theme becomes patience, because when you have higher standards for yourself, it gets a little bit more difficult to meet people who meet your criteria. That's just the way things are. So this new stage in your new experience coming in your love life can be very much like a slower period, but it's not a slower period without growth. It's not going to feel like, oh my God, I'm just wasting years doing nothing, dating the wrong people, you know, being in these relationships that don't satisfy me, or etc., or just being alone, whatever. This is a period of growth, where even if you're not dating or seeing anyone, you are adjusting your standards, your way of thinking, and understanding what it is that you exactly need within your relationship, especially when it comes to the picture, the picture that you see for yourself. Like some people see, you know, the white picket fence with the family, etc. You may see something else, you know, maybe you see yourself living in, I don't know, a lighthouse or something with your spouse, or maybe you guys don't get married, or, you know, maybe you have some kind of unusual lifestyle. Whatever the case may be, you're painting that picture for yourself, and it will become solidified through these new experiences that you are encountering. Okay? I think I've already talked about having the slow burn and building on the emotional intimacy. Also, if this comes to new experiences, like let's say you're not used to dating anyone from work, this can definitely mean dating someone from work or meeting someone at work. I just want to say that, you know, put that out there. If you've never dated someone in the same field, this would be doing that. If you've never had someone who would support your ambitions, you're finally going to meet someone who supports your ambitions, who doesn't tell you to slow down. This can also represent attracting people who are patient, who take their time. If you know, sometimes, like I said before, you know, you may have met people who rushed into things, who quickly wanted to get in relationships, quickly wanted to be intimate. Not anymore. This is representing new experiences where you're meeting more people who want to take their time. This is if you're single. If you're already in a relationship, then this kind of just represents that you're setting boundaries for you and your partner so that you can understand each other and better support each other long term. I really think the message is like you're going to get someone who is more than likely going to be mature. They're more than likely going to have clear goals. They're more than likely going to have a stable job. They're definitely going to have shared values with you with the World card here. they're 100% you're meeting more people who are like worldly and well-traveled as well, highly educated with the World card and the Chariot, especially with the Sun and Saturn. Sun ruled people are generally very good at school. Saturn ruled people, they could be if they wanted to. They can be a little bit rebellious. Interesting, right? Because Saturn's like the rule maker and rule breaker, right? Well, Sun likes to make rules too, but you know, I'm not gonna get into all that. But anyway, and someone who really prioritizes you, has boundaries and respects you is something that is going to be coming. If you have not met people like that before, you're going to meet them, and it's going to feel like a breath of fresh air with Judgment here. It's like, wow, this is a totally new start. Like, it's going to feel really new, especially with the World card here, because the World card also represents endings as well. The Six of Swords is moving on. Judgment is brand new. Like, this is going to feel really new for you guys. Okay. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know what you've been through before. Six of Swords says, you know, things have been kind of rough, and, you know, you may have not gotten that support that you needed in the past. You may have just been singing the blues. You may have felt like you've just met people who may not even have matched your hustle if you're an ambitious person, or just didn't have the same sort of values that you needed in your relationship to sustain it. And now you're finally going to be meeting these people, these new experiences. And there'll be a lot of, I think another pal had this, where there's going to be a lot of traveling. I don't know, when it comes to dating and relationships. If you've never traveled with a significant other, if you haven't had someone, I don't know, fly you out, or I don't know, something to do with traveling together, or, you know, for some people this can be a long distance relationship. I mean, we have like Six of Swords is travel, the World is the travel card, the Chariot's a travel card. Like, you have 3 different cards for indicating travel. So I don't know if you haven't traveled for someone in a relationship, or even possibly moved. So you could actually be moving because of love, or that might be a sign that that's right, this thing falling. You could be moving because of love. You could be moving to a new city, and then that causes you to attract a different type, and so you're dating different type of people, and that's bring about new experiences. Or you could just be meeting people who are well traveled. Okay, that is quite possible. You may just be attracting more people who are more like, I know more about the world. I've been to several different countries. I know that's happened to me several periods in my life, where even just like recently, where I just started attracting more people who just wanted to travel. I was like, wow, why am I attracting all these travel people? And that happens in periods in life, those new experiences. So that's something that's more than likely coming in for you. And very much explorative type of energy. I don't think I have too much more to add in terms of new experiences. I think I've covered the gambit and cleared the board in terms of things that are coming in for you. Very intelligent people, obviously. Very knowledgeable people coming in. The new experiences in love are just going to feel like, this feels right. Like this feels like it's more aligned with my purpose and the life that I picture for myself. Is basically the overall feeling that I'm getting for this reading. It's like, I'm finally getting people who understand and click with my ideal of what it is that I see, and they're willing to, or not only willing, but they want to paint the same picture in life that I see for myself. So that is what I have for you, pal number 3, and I will see you next time. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, okay? And au revoir. Hey, pal number 4, let's get started on what new experiences in love await you. We have Mars and Chiron, the 2 of Cups, the 3 of Cups, ooh, the Devil, and the Knight of Wands. Okay, this is fun. So right off the bat, when we have the Two of Cups and the Three of Cups and the Devil, honestly, what I'm getting here, and the Knight of Wands, it's like not really, what's the word I'm going to say? You're not taking things super serious. That's not to say that you won't have some committed partnership. Sorry, I was trying to dust some hair off there. You won't have a committed partnership or anything, but it looks like this period in your life, if you've the type of person who has usually tried to date more serious, maybe more so monogamous relationships, maybe one person at a time, you're not the type of person to keep a roster. It looks like this new love experiences coming your way is more than likely you dating all types of people, not being committed to one person, maybe even getting that roster of people on your list. Like, this is very non-committal energy. This is like, I'm dating for fun, especially with the Devil here, the Three of Cups. These two cards here, I usually get together for like, I'm having a good time. The Devil's not always like, oh, we're bound to misery or some addiction or da-da-da. Sometimes it's just a card that represents enjoyment, pleasure, fun, especially when it's paired with the Three of Cups. And also, if you're a type of person who, like I said, typically has taken things very, very seriously, has put in a lot of effort towards your love life, dating, relationships, this is you, leaning back and saying, okay, I'm just going to have a bunch of exciting new experiences. I'm not going to put in much effort. I'm not going to struggle, right? I'm not going to take things super serious. This is very fun, frivolous type of energy. And it's interesting because we have Mars and Chiron. And so normally when we get Mars and, I say Chiron, but it's Chiron. Normally when we get Mars and Chiron, it's about kind of being like tired of struggling. You may feel like you're pushing up against like resistance and encountering a lot of setbacks when it comes to your dating, love, romantic life. It's about some area in your life where you're putting in a lot of effort and you're not getting much results. It can be about feeling worn out from like past relationships or romantic encounters. And it can represent like a past where you've put in a lot of hard work to try to make sort of relationships or dating experience to go to be fulfilling in some way, but in the end you just have nothing to show for it. So this is really all about like changing self-destructive behaviors that may have led you to feeling dissatisfaction within your relationships. And I have a feeling that this is like, okay, maybe you used to put a lot of effort in, and it just didn't lead to anywhere fulfilling for you. And so this Knight of Wands energy is kind of like pulling back and being a little bit more like, I'm just going to be adventurous, explorative. I'm not going to, give it my all in the first couple of dates. I'm not going to, like, let's say you were the person who likes to take control and plan dates. Well, now you're letting this person take the lead and plan dates. Or if you were the type of person who, tried to mold your personality to what somebody else wanted it to be, this is you saying, no, I'm just going to be free to just like be myself and have fun. Whatever the case may be, whatever pattern that you felt yourself doing, or like if you were compromising on certain aspects of your personality, like let's say if you were a Christian and you were like, I don't want to be intimate until, marriage. Well, this is like saying, well, you're not going to try to compromise and be like, well, maybe we could do this thing, then that thing. You're just like, okay, cool. Like you don't match my flow. You don't match what I want to do. It's just very much like take it or leave it. Very much like an abundance mindset that you'll have. Like, I don't really care. You're off to the next with this Knight of Wands energy. It's like, I don't have to be here if I don't want to be here. Like, for example, I'm trying to think of, like, for example, you might be the type of person who puts a lot of effort into your appearance and getting dressed up, and then maybe you go out and meet someone, they don't do the same. or you come up with certain thoughtful gestures and planning nice dates and da and putting a lot of pressure on yourself to like prove your worth or just to show that you care or show appreciation, but you're not met with the same level. This is to say that you're not going to do that anymore. This Mars and Chiron energy. It's like, no, I'm just not going to take things that serious, and I'm going to be a little bit more selfish too. And this is like a good period for you because it's more so you're going to have a lot of excitement. You're going to have a lot of fun. Like I said, if dating wasn't really fun or exciting for you before, now it becomes more fun and exciting. And it's because that you're more concerned with yourself and your own emotional needs and having a great time. Another thing that with this Mars and Chiron energy can do is that you can take time to step back and reflect on your goals and your own motivations for why you want the things that you want or how you go about achieving the things that you do, right? So let's say you have a tactic of being a little bit more honest. Well, now you might be, well, with the devil card here, this is a small few of you. You might be a little bit more manipulative because the devil here does rule, not exactly being the most honest person, and they know how to so-and-so play the dating game, right? So there could be an element of, playing games and stuff with certain people. It reminds me of that movie, Two Can Play That Game, and they're just doing all these dramatics and trying to one-up each other as a couple. And what is that star? Oh my God. Why can't I think of her name? She's super famous. I can't think of her name at the moment. I'm not saying Gabrielle Union, not her. Two Can Play That Game. Why can't I think of her name? This is gonna drive me crazy. Gabrielle Union, I think, is in that. I don't know if she's in the first one or the second one. Whatever. Vivica Fox. Okay, there we go. So, yeah. Okay, yeah. Reminds me of the movie with Gabrielle Union, Vivica Fox, and I think Morris Chestnut, where they are, like, trying to one-up each other, trick them into acting the way they want them to act and get the things that they want out of whatever they're dating. Excuse me, their dating experience. I guess that's the word I want to use. So that may be you. You may be using some type of, what's that woman on YouTube? Shira 7 tactics to get what you want within the dating game. And it looks like you're going to be having a good time doing it and enjoying yourself if you do that. That's not for everybody. Like I said, sometimes this is just like, having fun, being uncommitted, and etc. Another thing is that we can also get some willingness to be vulnerable and authentic about your insecurities and wounds. That may be for half of you. I don't think that's going to be for all of you because like with the devil card here, the devil card isn't vulnerable and authentic, and they can put themselves in vulnerable positions. But generally that's not what that card's about. But these two cards do represent vulnerability and authenticity. So it makes me think that half of you may be like doing that, and then the other half is just kind of like, yeah, you have your moments, but that's not ultimately what this is about. But it can represent, opening up somewhat about past traumas. It would surprise me if that you guys didn't find yourself doing that a little bit more. Only because with Mars and Chiron there and the devil, it does show that you may be a little bit more open with more people about those past traumas within your love life. But ultimately what I get coming for you is just a fun, exciting time. Like meeting a lot of good looking people, for sure, with the devil and the Knight of Wands. So I feel like you'll be dating a lot more people who are more physically attractive. Like if that's what you're into, especially with Mars and Chiron there. Mars representing like the body, the physicality, fitness. And also Mars does rule the face too, because it is connected. It is rule Aries, right? But I guess Mars is typically known more for the body. But yes, definitely dating a lot more good looking people. So if you're someone who typically may not date in that way, like maybe you date more people who are smart, maybe you date more people who are funny, maybe you date more people who are like, oh, I have money or whatever, and they tend to be more like average in looks. Not really this time around. This is more so like very, very much so attractive people with the Devil card here and the Knight of Wands. And it's really more so you're prioritizing your personal interest. That's the thing that's coming out this time. Instead of trying to people please and be somebody you're not, you're prioritizing what it is that you want and making sure that's what you get out of your romantic interactions within your relationships and etc. So it's actually a very fun, exciting time for you. So that is what I have. I do see if this is for, I guess it's mainly singles. You're dating a lot of people. If you're already in a relationship, maybe you guys will go out and celebrate more. So if you guys are more homebodies, this definitely represents getting out there. This isn't really stay-at-home energy unless you're inviting people to your home and hosting like dinner parties, and that would be a new experience for you. If you guys are doing something like that as a couple, then that would be something I could see these cards meaning. Or, if you're having more smexy time with something along the lines of that I could even see that with this, like communicating your needs, when it comes to intimacy and what you like, what you don't like. If you've had issues with that before, then that would be something that changes. If you've had struggles to, reach a certain feeling, I can't be descriptive on YouTube, then that would be you reaching that peak and that highest point. And then also, maybe even bringing in like a third party or something like that. But that's something for another day. All right. So we're going to let that be. And it's really exciting for you, pile number 4. I really love this pile for you. I wish I had this. So I will see you next time. Au revoir. Hey, pile number 5. Let's get started on what new experiences in love await you. We have the Chariot, Neptune and Mercury, 7 of Wands, Strength, 10 of Cups. See if I can get that organized. Because every time I think it's not crooked, it comes out crooked. Okay. Good enough. There we go. As long as you can see everything, I think that we're fine. So, new experiences in love we have for you. The Chariot, 7 of Wands, and Strength. All right. Looks like it's been quite the ride. So, the new experience we have has to do with, one, feeling a strong sense of fulfillment when we have the 10 of Cups here on the end. And the 7 of Wands and Strength let me know that it's really a time period where it's more so about patience. Taking your time when it comes to falling into the right situation, or even not even falling, because the Chariot and the 7 of Wands puts an effort into arriving at the right situation that makes you feel blessed, fulfilled, and fortunate. So the new experiences in love, maybe you are going to have to take a more proactive approach, only because these cards are super active, at least towards the beginning. It's like saying you're going to have to go on the dates. You're going to have to get out the house. You're going to have to talk to people if you're not already doing those things. If you are doing those things, then it's about approaching things in a different manner, especially when we have Mercury and Neptune. Mercury is all about being dynamic and diving into different experiences, and Neptune represents it can represent situations that are unconventional, that seem to be metaphysical or just possibly outside the boundaries of society, because Neptune is all about having no boundaries, right? Things that have to do with exploring something different. And then we also had travel for another card. So I definitely see travel for you. I know for me personally, in my life, a lot of times, whenever I have like a Neptune Mercury aspect, I'm either like making travel plans, or I might be traveling myself. And with the Chariot here, it is quite possible that these new experiences have to do with traveling within your relationship. Another pal had something similar as well. Or even traveling for love, traveling to love. Reminds me of like 90 Day Fiance or something along the lines like that. If you are in contact in a long distance relationship, or even forming a long distance relationship, this is what this energy can symbolize. A lot of this has to do when it comes to proactively putting yourself out there. It's not just about doing the work and like going out to meet people, but it's also about being proactive when it comes to expressing your feelings and being vulnerable. That's what we have Strength card here. You have this little, on this one, red panda holding the little lion, which is a dangerous creature, right? And a lot of times we can view this as being like patient, calm, resilient, having to, calm that inner beast as we wait to get something that we want. But sometimes it's about opening up and putting yourself out there that in a way that feels scary, that feels like you could be rejected or hurt in some manner. But when we have Mercury and Neptune, it becomes all about expressing those vulnerabilities, especially when we have the 10 of Cups here, which is this big family around sharing their emotions, sharing in their thoughts, comforting each other, supporting each other. So it is likely you're going to experience some communications in which you are able to form a deep connection through conversations that you have, through you expressing vulnerabilities with the people you're dating or the people that you're in a relationship with. Conversations that may be uncomfortable. This can also have to do with conversations in which you will have to clear communication. Because when Neptune and Mercury come together, we all know, if you don't know, now you know, it represents a lot of miscommunication. I can tell you about a time where I was trying to let a hotel know that I was going to be checking in like later, past midnight or something like that. And they had contacted me back and let me know that, oh, you don't tell them that you have to check in past midnight. You have to go through your booking service, and the booking service has to contact them. So I went through my booking service, and the booking service said, no, you have to contact the hotel directly and let them know what time you're going to be checking in. So I came back and I let them know what the booking service said, and they said, oh, wait, like, okay, just let us know what room you're in and then we could sort this thing out. So they had miscommunicated that information to me. They said they were wrong. Yeah, you do let us know that information. And then I let them know the new check-in time, and they said, oh, actually, you're not checking in with the hotel. You're checking in with the residency, which is a completely different line. So then I had to contact the residency, and then the residency didn't answer. So then I had to go back to the hotel, and then the hotel had to give me an email for the residency. And you see how confusing and stressful that communication was. And that was on a Mercury conjunct Neptune day. So these new experiences in love are going to be frustrating, to say the least. Not all of them. Let me not say, oh, all new experiences are about to be frustrating. No, there's going to be a certain aspect that's going to be frustrating because you're going to be thinking that your communication is clear, and or that you are being as precise as you can and as direct as you can in your communication. But maybe the people that you are talking to, or in a relationship with, or trying to form romantic bonds with, are hearing something completely different than what you're saying, or vice versa. Maybe they say something and you misinterpret that a completely different way. And so when we have these cards here, it's saying that you're going to have to overcome some challenges and really kind of get in there and put in a lot of effort so that you guys can reach a mutual understanding. And so these new experiences in love have to do, instead of like fighting each other, it's about fighting to understand each other, if that makes sense. It's like putting in effort so that you're on the same page. It's not necessarily a bad thing. Sometimes there can be communication breakdowns, but this is more so, hey, we're working together to make sure that we can have a clear understanding of what our expectations are within a relationship, what we're looking for in a partner, what kind of dating experiences we have, you know, what things we find interesting, what are our interests, what are our hobbies, you know, what are our views on education, you know, certain laws, whatever the case may be. But you're trying to gain a full picture and understanding so that you and the person that you're dating, or may possibly be dating soon, will have a happy, secure, and fulfilling relationship. So it's putting in effort for the good, for the greater good ultimately. So this new energy and new experiences in love is all about strengthening communication. This can also be about finding new romantic ways of communicating, whether that be through poetry. And I love how the cards are kind of reiterating this, like Mercury and Neptune can be like romantic communication. But the Strength card here is also connected to Leo, which is the house of like romance and dating, etc. like that. And so it's also about finding creative ways to communicate, whether that's like you do something cute, like I said, write each other poetry, write each other love letters, sharing your dreams, sharing your fantasies with each other. This is something along the lines of that, maybe even just thinking of like cutesy nicknames. It could be something like that. But it's really about deepening the emotional connection, which is going to be, it's going to take work. I'm not going to lie, these cards are work. But with the Chariot here, it lets me know that it's going to work out. If you're somebody who is single and maybe you haven't felt as energized into putting in effort into meeting the right people lately, you're going to feel a new surge of energy into going out there and finding someone that you can really connect with and that you feel like you can share your life with. This also becomes about trying to see past like those rose goggles that we all put on sometimes. Maybe not all, but at certain points we can all fantasize about someone. Like we meet someone great, we think they're amazing, and we create this fantasy in our head of what we think, you know, how the interaction is going to go, how the relationship is going to go, and things along the lines of that. And it's more about dealing with the reality of the situation and accepting people for who they are in that sense, whether that's good or bad, especially with the Strength card here. It's like saying, okay, I see the sides of you that have flaws, and I'm willing to accept that or not accept it depending on, you know, your circumstances and who that person may be. But some of you are going to meet someone whose flaws you can't accept and that you can work with, and you feel like, yes, I can build a family, a community, or etc. with this person. It's obvious to me, like, if you're single and you're looking to date, or you're open to it at least, you're going to be placed in situations where you're going to have to really rely on your intuition. And that's the Neptune field, the Cancer field, and the Ten of Cups energy, all implying that you're going to have to, at some level, rely on your intuitiveness to put you in situations, well, to help you find the right person. And you'll be put in situations where you're going to need to be more observant and vigilant, like the Seven of Wands here. It's not necessarily in like a dangerous way, but it's more so like you need to look out for the red flags. You need to like really think and analyze the things that are in front of you, because you're going to encounter quite a few, like I said, miscommunications. And it's going to, like I said, help strengthen your communication and help you better communicate what it is that you are looking for to the people that potentially you might be dating or looking to date. The people you meet, more than likely, you're going to have a lot of like spiritual conversations with. You're more likely going to talk about things that may be, you know, outside the norm. You're definitely going to talk about your belief systems, maybe like the meaning of life or something along the lines of that, because that Neptune energy is so big and vibrant. Your wildest dreams, your wildest ambitions. I think this new experience is coming in. A lot of it has to do with finding those who can provide that emotional support, because we have strength and we have the Ten of Cups, which is like this full cup full of emotions. And this is like protecting that and supporting that. Chariot is also connected to Cancer, as I said, what has to do with the inner world and your emotional state. And so it's about entering a space or a new experience in your life where you're meeting people who will provide that emotional support for you. On the flip side, somewhat you know, as I mentioned before, you're going to have to weed through some deception in some way, because I'd be setting you up for failure if I didn't warn you about that, especially with the Seven of Wands energy, where you're going to have to push past all those toads and frogs to find, you know, your prince or princess or whatever. And situations like with what Neptune represents and the Seven of Wands can represent is like saying, okay, if you're online dating, you may encounter people who use like filters, or who may try to like catfish, or who may misrepresent themselves in some way. And you're going to have to like weed past them and push them away. And there's going to be quite a few people interested with the Chariot and the Seven of Wands here. So maybe you're going to be in a space in your life where the new experiences that, like, if previously you didn't have a whole bunch of people like interested, now you're going to have, you know, very much so, more than one party interested and wanting to connect and wanting to be with you, and etc. And then also Neptune represents large ambitions, and Mercury can also connect to your career and your skill set and what you do in life. And the Chariot is also a card of victory, ambition, championship, winning, being on top. Same with the Seven of Wands, because it comes straight from the the Six of Wands, which is about victory. So it's like the following card after victory. So it's like you already won something, right? So what this would imply is like meeting and dating very successful people. If that's not something that you've experienced before, this is what you would be experiencing now. Or on the flip side, it can represent meeting people who can help you with your career and your path and with the place that you want to go. If you've never felt that support in that area of life, this would be that coming in for you. The Chariot is definitely a card where the new experiences have to do with feeling like you've achieved some success. So if you felt like you have been down on your luck and you haven't met the right people, the Chariot would imply that there is positions and opportunities, more than likely, that you will start to meet people who align with what exactly it is that you want. I think we may have had another pile like that as well. Some other pile got the Chariot, so you might be drawn to that one as well. I want to make sure I cover all the bases for you guys. Let me pause and think. I don't want to leave anything out. Oh, I forgot the most important one. Duh. A boost in confidence. You're going to feel a lot more confident in your decision making and the choices that you make. You're not going to feel like, oh, I picked another person who wasn't compatible with me and that didn't work out and that was such a poor decision and I regret that, da da da. No, this is not that anymore. You're going to be able to feel like, hey, no, I was able to weed through all that BS and I was able to meet people with good character for the most part. And I have solid decision making and I have confidence in my ability to find someone. You're going to feel like, I know that I can find my person. Like, if you have felt demoralized, or if you felt like giving up, or if you felt like, man, this is impossible, and this is for the people who are single, or maybe if you're in a relationship too, but if you're in an unhappy relationship or something like that, but you're going to feel like, no, I know that if I keep going, I can find my person. So if you have never felt that way before, if you've never felt that strong sense of determination and assurance within yourself, this is you feeling it 100%. You're saying, I am someone who is deserving of love, and I am someone who is going to be able to get that. You're not going to let your emotions get the best of you. You're going to be able to move through things clearly. And not only that, but you're going to also attract other people who have good head on their shoulders too, who are level-headed, who aren't reactive, who aren't, pessimistic, because these are very optimistic like cards, and who also share a lot of confidence. So I don't know if you're used to dating people who may be a little bit more insecure, but this is not coming for you. This is the new experiences. Definitely represents someone who is also confident. So as you grow in confidence, you will start to attract other people who have that confidence. And even if you attract other people who aren't that confident, you'll be able to like push them aside, say, sorry, no, you're not the one for me, right? You may even get like a lot of pushback from friends and family too. But I feel like when you have this Mercury and Neptune combination, it's about you being able to intuitively use your discernment to understand what resonates with you and what doesn't. And I say pushback from friends and family because the Chariot can rule the 4th house of Cancer, which can do with family or even like childhood friends or even just people close to your heart, close friends. And the 7 of Wands can be like a lot of different opinions and people coming at you about this thing and that thing. Same with the 10 of Cups, can also be family represented. And Strength is about saying, I don't need to let everything in. Like, I don't need to let all these different voices in my head to to insert themselves into like my love life and give their 2 cents. This is you standing your ground when it comes to the choices that you make for yourself. And that's something potentially that may be a new experience for you. Maybe they've given you a lot of support in the past. And you're like, you meet someone and you think that this person's a great catch for you. And you personally can't see any red flags. And maybe you've talked to a therapist about it and your therapist agrees like this person's kind of great and etc. But maybe your friends and family are like, oh no, I don't know. I don't think this person is right because maybe they're not the same religion, or, You know, maybe they're not the same culture. Maybe, I don't know, maybe they just get a hunch and they don't like the person. You're like, no, this is the person for me. I know it. I feel it within myself. I am sure of myself and my decision making. So situations like that can arise. This is also about, like, if you have felt like insecure within your relationship, it's like building a new confidence and assurance within yourself that you guys are set and you can make it long term, and there isn't this person's going to leave me type of feeling going on. You start to feel more comfortable and, like I said, more secure within your relationship. That's also might be a new experience coming on, and that could be a result of these conversations that you're having with your partner if you are in a relationship. And I guess the last thing I want to say would be, you know, it looks like that you're going to go through some experiences where you're all going to meet some challenges, but I have a feeling that you're going to be able to tame any doubts that you have. If you're doubting yourself or you're insecure about yourself and you're listening to a lot of other people's opinions and stuff, this is you creating more assurance within yourself. This is you not only having conversations with the people you're dating that are deep, meaningful, and compassionate, but you're also having that compassionate for you. You're starting to have more compassionate thoughts for yourself. You're starting to reflect more so on your big goals, your ambitions, and your dreams, and demonstrating a mindset that is very balanced and very understanding to yourself and others. It just looks like you're growing in a way that's really ideal. So these new experiences, like I said, are about boosting that confidence and also engaging in new activities that are fun, like really fun and really exciting, and that make you very happy. So you're going to be doing a lot of new activities. I want to reiterate that, okay? Like if you're like, oh my gosh, I would love to go on a carriage ride. All of a sudden you guys are in a carriage ride and you're going on it together. Or like if you're saying, oh, I always wanted to go on a Ferris wheel date. Now you're going on a Ferris wheel date. So it's like new fun experiences. So dating becomes a little bit more fun and exciting when you do go on those dates. And like I said, you're going to have a lot more romantic pursuers than you normally do. And that's going to be like a new experience. I don't know if if you've already had a lot before, it's going to increase or something. But whenever I get the Seven of Wands, I always get someone who's like has a lot more romantic partners who are interested. But this is some really great new experiences coming up here. A lot of emotional fulfillment, a lot of happiness coming in your way. A sense of comfort, a sense of like belonging, community. You might even make friends with their friends because to shorten this up, strength is connected to Leo. Leo's connected to the 5th house. The 5th house is the 11th from the 7th house, which is like the friends of your partner. So you may even build a community with your partner or the person you're dating's friends. So it can be about expanding your friend circle as well, especially when we have Mercury and Neptune. Neptune represents like different cultures, different backgrounds, different people. And Mercury is about communications and connections with people. So your partner's friends can become like your friends. It's like expanding a friend group, a larger friend group in that way. So 2 interpretations of that. Just wanted to throw that out there. And this also, lastly, this could be about moving in. So if you've never lived with someone, this would be about moving in with a partner as well. We have like 2 cards to support that, especially with the Chariot and the 10 of Cups. So this would be like, oh, a happy home. We're building a home together. We're buying a home together. We're moving in together. You know, we're renting a space together, etc. So you may find yourself moving in with someone or buying a home with someone along the lines of that. So that is what I have for you, pile number 5. You have some wonderful experiences coming your way, and I cannot wait to hear from you. So feel free to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Au revoir.